This is Eve.
This is Guy.
This is Virgil, and this is
SaligiaCast.
SaligiaCast. Hey everybody, welcome back to SaligiaCast. Today I'm going to be accompanied by Dax and Gaius. Eve will not be here for this episode, but hopefully she'll be here for the next one. I guess she couldn't make it. I don't know what happened. But anyway, what do you guys want to talk about yourselves? Maybe mention who you are in the guild. Maybe talk about your characters a little bit before we get started.
Alright, I am Gaius. I am the co-founder of Saligia RP Guild, and I'm the father of Effective Sloth. I initiate every single person that joins the guild.
I'm Deox, and I'm the new Mother of Greed. I found out about Saligia through the other podcasts, so looking forward to getting to know everyone.
Great. So let's get right into it. I guess I'll talk about what we will be talking about in this podcast. So we will be essentially talking about Eve Fanfest, which was I don't know, about a week ago or so, maybe 2 weeks ago. Shit, I don't even know. So we're going to talk about some information that we got from that regarding World of Darkness, and then we're going to have a short Q&A from the members of our guild. They give us a pretty decent amount of questions. I actually couldn't fit them all in to the podcast because there were so many. And then I will give a little small shout out to people, and that'll be it. So to get started, we'll talk about what we got from Eve Fanfest. There wasn't much information that they released. It was basically a lot of stuff we heard in the past from, I think it was Grand Masquerade, and I'm not sure if it was another Eve Fanfest last year, but it was something similar, where we just got a whole bunch of information. That was all speculated, of course. Everything's speculated at this point. So we'll start speaking about it. So what they really kind of were going for this presentation at Eve Fanfest was a lot of tools they were using. They showed a lot of their blocking system, and so yeah, most of the event they showed people using the tools they plan to use in the game. They were using blocking. Blocking is essentially using very, very low quality blocks or just squares to kind of map out the area, and that was essentially what they showed with their blocking system. And they showed a lot of shader tech, and it looks amazing. Like they showed that it'll actually change the way the world looks depending on what happens in it. So I mean, maybe that confirms maybe some sort of Sabbat taking over the world, and they can easily change the way the city looks a little bit, just the shader tech. So let me hear what you guys think about that.
Well, it definitely lends credit to what we were talking about last time, which is the environment changing rapidly through the destruction of different influences. And the fact that it changes seamlessly rather than, oh, this just blown up but everything else is fine, and how it fits together much better is really encouraging to how this will actually be good looking.
Yeah, I really liked the way they were looking, and this is just pre-production right now, so they're doing really well for something that's just coming out.
Alrighty. So that's all you guys got to say on that?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, not too much to add. But I guess we'll move on. I mean, there wasn't much to really talk about. It's just they showed a lot of shader tech that can change the world easily. I think, actually, I'll add one more thing. I think they actually made it so if, like, say you were looking at a building, right? And you were looking at a window, you could essentially, with your perspective, like say if you were looking from on top of a building, it would seem as if you were looking into the building, but like looking at the floor. Like it wasn't this static image there that, made it not look real. Like if you were on the bottom of the building and you looked up, you would see the lights or something similar, maybe some party going on inside. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm not sure what you guys thought about that, but before we move on, let me just hear what you guys think about that one.
I have not seen much of that in anything at all. And that seems almost, I could be wrong. Like, I would call it revolutionary, but just had some person comment on YouTube, everybody does this, all these guys. I'm like, "Pfft," but I haven't really seen that much, and you know what? It works great for the environment it's in. I encourage it, and I hope it's true, and I hope it looks good.
Well, I remember seeing that clip at the FanFest video, and they gave an example, like if it would look like someone was watching a TV through a window, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, they did that like flicker or whatever. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But yeah, there wasn't much that with that we can really talk about. But I'll move on to something a little bit better, I think, which is the mobile app or some sort of interaction through a web browser or phone apps. So I think I read somewhere that the Elder Scrolls Online is doing something with this, like with Facebook or uh, phone apps. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but you can essentially kind of maybe you can chat with people from your mobile app, like what Second Life does. They actually have a mobile app where you can just your character would be in the world where he was previously from where you from when you were on your desktop, but you can actually like log into the game. You couldn't move, but you can log into the game and talk with your friends wherever you were with your mobile app. So, what do you guys think? What kind of interaction do you think they can do with this sort of out of client engagement?
Well, when I first heard about this, the thing that popped into my head was Bungie's Destiny, which hopes to tie in the console game with social networking. But that's a console game, a single-player console game. To do that for an MMO ultimately had much more connections with social media and stuff like that. Um, what is there to say about it? I hope it works. I hope if it's in the game and they use the apps and whatever, that it becomes a tool for people to connect and RP or accomplish whatever task they want to accomplish, rather than just people using it to troll people if they can. So I hope that if they do it, that they do it right and that it works out for everybody.
Well, when I first heard about this, I thought back to Bloodlines and the little computer system that they had in place with the emails. And I think it would be really interesting if they took real-world technology and implemented it back into the game world.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. I was just about to bring up something that I think it was Secret World did. Yeah, Secret World, the Secret World. And I think you can actually, if I'm not mistaken, you can go onto a computer in the game and actually search the web in the game and get clues for like a mystery puzzle or something like that, and you can, solve it. Like I don't remember. I didn't play much, but I think I remember hearing them say something like if you needed to know some sort of historical figure, you can look it up on the computer in the game. Now I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I think I heard them saying something like that. But that'd be really interesting to see that in the game. But as you were saying, how the Bloodlines did it, with the where you can type in, it was very oldie, where you would type in everything and like old code. It always seemed like a coding type deal. I think that'd be really interesting. Even if it wasn't in-game stuff, it could be out-of-game stuff with phone apps. Just all that, Jess. So you guys want to say anything else about that?
Yeah, like going into how um, the game, the Bloodline, had the old style computer with a little coding and a little black and green text like old school. I would be amazed, not amazed, I would be impressed. No, it's not either. I would be interested in seeing them tackle social networking sort of when you pop on the computer, like, oh, Facebook or Twitter or whatever they put up there not to get sued, and see how they would use that on the computers instead of just, the same green and black text that they had in Bloodline.
Well, now that I think about it, it would be interesting if you had cell phones in-game and could also use them to somehow communicate with people outside of the MMO.
All right, sweet. So yeah, before we move on, I just want to say that was semi-confirmed that they wanted to use some sort of cross-client interaction type deal. I'm not sure exactly what they meant by it, but it seemed like it was phone apps. That was pretty much what it seemed like to me. So we'll move on. So a big thing that I sort of caught on to was that they were going to use a lot of motion capture to get their animations correct. Now, this by far means a lot to me because I love games that have these fluid animations and just the quality, just the amazing quality that motion capture can only get. It looks completely. It just looks so much better than handcrafted animations. I've done a lot of handcrafted animations. I mean, I'm not the best, but I mean, I know how hard it is to get the handcrafted animations in. And I'm assuming it's much easier to go with motion capture. So let me hear what you guys think about that.
I'll keep this brief. Taking people and using motion capture, combining that with a fashion designer, putting those two things together will get you the best quality models and the best quality animations. If movement and how the clothes move, it's a match made in heaven. It just sounds awesome.
Well, I've always hated the way MMOs have handled the movement of characters in-game, and I really hope they do this right, because it's just not a vampire game without good motion.
Yes, I totally agree. I'm just gonna give you an example of what was completely wrong. I'm not sure the company who made it, but the WoD. Everybody knows that was a game that failed horribly, but what they did was, I remember playing, and they had this really, really nice running animation, and I don't know what happened with it. Maybe it was too hard on the server or whatever. But they changed it to this stupid animation where the guy looks like he's hopping, like skipping along like his own fucking way. It was so annoying. But I just wanted to put that example out. So yeah, I do hope they use good motion capture. Oh, one more thing. Now I was wondering, in that old, I think it was like from 2 years ago, there was that carbon technology video of the girl kind of walking up the steps and walking down the steps. That seemed all fluid. That seemed like motion capture. But what didn't seem like motion capture was the way her dress kind of moved. Now, do you guys think they're going to be using this type of thing in the game where they have this sort of engine where it actually moves the clothing around, or you think they're just going to motion capture everything? They're going to motion capture the clothing, they're going to motion capture the movement. What do you guys think?
Well, they have a fashion consultant, which makes the fashion the best looking and realistic as possible. They're paying this person whatever amount of money you pay somebody like that. It would be a waste just to have them design clothes and turn them into paper that barely moves on this motion capture individual. I am sure they're probably still working out the kinks with that, but I'm sure overall they would like to have the clothes move as fluid and as human, or as vampire rather, on the person as possible.
I agree with Gaius on this. I mean, what would be the point of having really fluid-looking character models and then having cardboard clothing attached to them? Yeah, I don't think that would work out well.
All I want to say is
sorry.
the best clothing design in the world looks like crap when you can tell it's fake. Just saying.
Oh yes, of course. Well, yeah. Let's hope that they use motion capture to their the fullest potential, and that they use this carbon technology that we've seen in these videos. I mean, I really hope they use it. It looks so amazing. But anyway, I think what we're going to talk about next is the biggest part of what Eve Fanfest didn't show us was the blacked out video. And I think Dax wanted to speak about this, so go ahead.
Okay, so I found an article discussing this, and he gave little stick figure drawings to, I guess, animate the video that we cannot see because it was blacked out. But it was basically about a female vampire eating people and jumping off of buildings. So there's not really much to talk about it, but I thought it was interesting.
I read somewhere that she was climbing a building and I don't remember what she did. I think she jumped into a party of some sort and was walking through the party that was kind of hinting to how vampires going to interact with each other, and it's sort of that coffee shop-esque thing. So if you want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, because there's going to be a much bigger social element in this game compared to some other. It's going to be somewhat like Second Life, I've heard, so I'm not sure quite about.
All right, guys, do you want to add anything else on the blacked out video that teased us so badly?
I want to be fair to the people that might be viewing this. I have not seen this video. But just how you two were describing it, it seems like this female vampire would be climbing and jumping around and parkouring, whatever, and then just drop down into I guess what we call the coffee shop, Second Life environment. I just wonder how well that would sort of scene together between the animalistic Assassin's Creed-esque building jumping to, hey everybody, I'm here, let's do whatever the heck we do when we're in large groups. And I hope it looks better than how I'm imagining it.
Maybe it's a sign for abilities? I'm not too sure.
You said Assassin's Creed, and I was thinking about that when you said it. I think it's going to be very similar to Assassin's Creed. Maybe even the way your character walks, because that's all motion cap. Yeah, I really think it might be close, resembling the Assassin's Creed, where even when he jumps down, like if anybody's played it, even when the person or whatever the hell his name, Ezio or whatever the hell you're playing, when he jumps down, he usually can walk into an area and he would be unseen by whoever was chasing him. So I think that's what they were going for. Like, because I remember, I'm not sure if somebody was chasing her or if she was chasing somebody. Do you remember what that was, Dayak?
Well, the video starts out with her attacking a random passerby, as the article puts it, and then jumping on buildings to kind of get away from the scene of the crime. And then she jumps into the partygoers area, the coffee shop area. And from there, I can't quite remember this, but I believe she goes into an alleyway where 3 other vampires are waiting for her, and she's getting ready for combat. So.
Yeah, that's right. So it sounds very Assassin's Creed-like to me, where you get on these buildings, get down quick, get into a party or a big group of people, and hide there for a moment. So yeah, I think they can get a lot from Assassin's Creed in this part. So if anybody's trying to guess at what's happening, I'm guessing think Assassin's Creed like. If you've never played it, go play Assassin's Creed. It's a good game. But anyway, is that all you guys want to say about that?
Yeah, we're good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, actually, there was actually another thing in the video that we didn't talk about, that I wanted to talk about, which was the cell phone in the video. So, in the Q&A of the FanFest, of the presentation at FanFest, there was a guy who kind of leaked that there was a cell phone being used in the video. And what did they say? They said it was only for a visual element and nothing innovative, nothing similar. Which really bums me to hear that they had this cell phone in the video and it's only visual. Like if they had it similar to GTA's cell phone, I remember like you would open it. Was it GTA 4? GTA 4 I think. Where you would open it and it would pop up on the side of your screen and you could pick from all these different things, like you can invite your friends to the game. What else could you do? You could do a bunch of, you can call your friends, all that jazz. Now, if they added that into the game, I think that'd be really freaking cool. That'd be something I've never seen before, and it would really work in this kind of environment, because younger vampires are always, and I'm saying younger vampires because it's been confirmed that we're going to start as a mortal and then become a vampire. So I'm saying younger, and as a lot of World of Darkness people know, that the younger vampires know the way of the technology. They know how to use these cell phones and all that jazz. Um, so I mean, I think that would work. They can actually use these cell phones to get information across quickly, and all that. So what do you guys think about the cell phone? Or do you think it was just to cover up them saying, "Oh, this is just a visual element, nothing innovative. Don't worry about it. Oh, just shut your eyes, shut your ears, whatever." What do you guys think?
I think that the individual that mentioned the cell phone must have said it and then realized that he wasn't supposed to, and then he said, "Oh, it's only visual." But I mean, if there's a cell phone in the game, we're going to learn about it within the next year and a half. Um, I hope you can use it to contact friends, guild mates. But what I really want to see is if there is a phone app or a web app, but particularly phone apps, if there is a World of Darkness MMO phone app, can I go into that app on my iPhone, whatever you have, and send a text message, or it'll be a message of text, not a literal text message, to someone I'm friends with or in a guild with? Will that pop up on their phone while they play World of Darkness? If they can do that correctly and do it right, that would bring a whole new element to how guilds work, to how groups of friends in game work. That would be awesome. If it is just a little gray or little colored box that your character will possess in the game that doesn't have any functionality whatsoever, it would be just as a waste of a bunch of cardboard clothes on a motion capture model.
I completely agree with Gaius and have really nothing more to add to it.
Guys, I think you're correct in that. It would be amazing if you can kind of, talk with your friends on your real phone, and send a text message or whatever to your coterie, or which I'm assuming they're going to be calling guilds in the game, or covenants or whatever, and maybe even use it to roleplay. I don't know, maybe. So I do want to hear what you guys think about using a real life phone to send RP messages to your guild or your friends. So I just want to hear. Just wondering that real quick.
Um, I think it would be great if people were willing to, if RP guilds were willing to use it. Would I be willing to have a RP discussion with you specifically through text messages? Not a very long one, but it would be interesting indeed to actually adapt that function if it is indeed included for an RP purpose.
I think it would be interesting for just a private messaging system, so I could tell someone something in character about an event that I don't want anyone else in the game to know about, and I think that would be really good.
Okay, so I remember them talking about they wanted to make the how do I say this? They wanted to make the UI seem very movie-like. Now, if they said that, I think the cell phone would add this more in-depth movie-like feel to the whole game. 'Cause I remember them saying they wanted the UI, they wanted the game to feel very, very fluid, movie-like, jumping on these buildings and rolling and doing whatever, very movie-like. So I just wanted to hear that from you. Like, well, actually, I don't want to hear that from you. I'll move on, but I just wanted to say that. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. And I believe, guys, you wanted to talk a little bit on the day and night cycle, and if they were gonna have a day and night cycle. So go ahead and just let me hear what you got to say.
I want to rather mention that very briefly, and then I want to go into something else that is related but isn't exactly connected to Eve Fanfest. It has been confirmed that there will not be a day and night cycle. There will be night, perpetual night, because, as the article stated, sleeping in a coffin is not fun and is very boring, especially when you're paying money to sleep in that coffin. One of my favorite comments regarding this was said, "Oh, so it exists in the same world as Max Payne 1 and 2." I think it works well. Role-playing might take a hit since there's never daytime, but we'll compensate. I think it's just important that people remember that there's no day-night cycle, which means you won't be permadeath by the sun. That's very interesting to me, and that's been confirmed, so we can throw that out to the 15 people that actually listen to this podcast. The other thing I wanted to say has nothing to do with World of Darkness specifically.
Wait, hold on.
It has to do
Before
with-
you go into that, I just wanted to mention something on the no day and night cycle. I was wondering this. CCP makes these hardcore games. Now, if they are making these hardcore games, I don't see why a day and night cycle couldn't work. I mean, most people, well, I mean, this is kind of biased, but most people, play at nighttime. If I don't know how they would do nighttime, I'm not sure if it would be like the normal game time where it's like 4 hours for day, 4 hours for night. But I mean, I would love a day and night cycle. And during the day, I can play my alt. That's a human, maybe, I don't know, or my ghoul, because I know I'm going to be RPing a ghoul at some point. And then at night, I can play my vampire. I mean, I think that'd be so awesome. What do you guys think about that?
I would disagree with you. When you think about World of Darkness, and I believe it was last week, might have been the week before, where we said that we think player-owned housing or player-owned places they live would probably be, private just to them. If it's daytime, instances, right, sorry. If it's daytime, they would probably all be in their own personal instances, which means if you're a hunter, you can't go into their house, kick their door in, and murder them in their sleep. Which would make the game pretty boring for a hunter in the daytime. If it's perpetual night, the hunters not only have constant targets to shoot at, but they also have the constant threat of a lady vampire jumping down from the rooftops and killing them. So I think it works well for the setting of the game, which is a world of darkness.
I originally wanted a day and night cycle, just with day much shorter than the night cycle. But then I heard that we were doing a single server setting, and I just feel like it wouldn't be practical to have a day and night setting in that type of system.
Oh man, I'm so on the other side of the fence with you guys. I want this. I would love for a day and night cycle because it would make finding like a good player house, or maybe making your player house more defensible, or whatever, or hiding it in the sewer, maybe, I don't know. That would make that so much better. And then you would go to your house during the day and hide there, get on another character, if that's gonna happen. But it's probably not. It is not. It's definitely not. But yeah, so I was just on the other fence with that one. So I think that's all they really have to say regarding any really new information. Everything else was kind of spoke on. Just some very simple things. But I think Gaius wanted to talk on something regarding CCP's Eve Online. So Gaius, what were you gonna say on that?
Yes, as those of you might have known, on their Facebook page, Eve Online said that they were hit with a series of denial of service attacks on their primary server that holds Eve Online and another one of their games, which I haven't heard of up until this point, Dust 514. In a response to this, they decided to close down the servers for an amount of time. As on Monday, June 3rd, the Eve Facebook page announced that the servers were back online and that they were continually looking into what the exact cause of this was. They said they were going to investigate the cause and they were going to find a way, in their own words, find out how to ensure that the infrastructure of the servers and Eve Online would be better protected from such attacks in the future. The reason I'm mentioning this at all because this is the World of Darkness podcast, is because if the World of Darkness runs on the same server, or at least a similar server as EVE Online, if it is hit by a denial of service attack, or anything similar, the exact same thing will most likely happen. They'll shut it down for 24 or 48 hours. They'll figure out what the problem is, and they'll try to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. That was all I was going to mention. Just say that, good guy CCP Gaming, and they're being on the ball to dealing with this. Until today, where I came across another article pertaining to EVE Online. The active players on EVE Online will be given 50,000 skill points each due to the time lost due to the denial of service situation. And I think that makes things even better, considering the nature of EVE Online, of how the gaming company said, yeah, you guys didn't do anything to deserve this. Here, take this stuff as our apology to compensate time that you lost. And I just want to make people aware of what happened, how the same thing would happen with World of Darkness, and give props to those who deserve it. I'm very happy that CCP Games took this route and did everything they can to ensure this doesn't happen again, and give people who lost time free stuff. And I just wanted to say that because I think that's great. I want to hear what you two think about that situation.
Oh, look who arrived. Eve is actually here. Oh, awesome. Eve, we were just talking about the EVE Online's, not you, Eve, the EVE Online's DDoSing shabacle. I'm just going to explain what DDoSing is. And essentially, in layman's terms, DDoSing is kind of like somebody that sends a bunch of packets of like information and sends it to a certain IP address, and that IP address cannot handle this amount of information, so it just like shuts down and crashes. That's essentially what was happening to EVE Online in some sort of server, in one of the servers. I don't remember what server it was, but it was happening. Dax, what did you want to say on the whole DDoSing situation?
Well, I don't know much about it, but I'm glad that CCP would compensate people for something that they had no control over.
All I know, I've been DDoSed before. I'm happy that they compensated. It's a very annoying thing to happen, and I can understand why they compensated, because people usually get pretty not happy when you get DDoSed. So I'm happy that they're handling it the right way, and I hope it doesn't happen again to them, because being DDoSed really does suck.
Alrighty, and guys, do you want to say anything else on the whole thing?
Yeah, I just want to say, again, to reiterate, I'm very happy they did it this way, and I'm very happy that they compensated people for it. I'm not exactly sure if they compensated people just to compensate people, which if they did, that'd be great, or if they were afraid, because some people, when this happened, were blaming CCP Games for shutting down the server for no reason when they didn't know that there was an attack. So, regardless, it's always good to make sure you solve the problem, fix the problem, make sure the problem happens again, and then give out free stuff, because free stuff is awesome.
The thing I'm worried about... Oops, sorry.
Oh, sorry,
I'm just worried about, like, why was this attack done on CCP? Because usually, well, when I was DDoSed, it was for malicious reasons, and DDoSing is malicious in itself. So why were they getting DDoSed in the first place? Did they make someone mad?
I have not
Possibly.
been able to dig up. I haven't dug up a reason. People just run around denial of servicing people. I'm not going to call any of them out because I like our website being kept intact. But sometimes people on the internet with certain capabilities are dicks for the sake of being dicks. I don't know. Shit happens.
And just because you said that, somebody's gonna go to the Saligia forums and DDoS the shit out of it.
Oh.
Don't. I love you guys. Just keep targeting the Westboro Baptist Church. Stay targeting them.
Yes,
Leave us
keep doing
alone.
that.
We're not worth it. We're not worth it.
Alright, so, anyway. Alright, guys, that was, essentially everything that we wanted to discuss regarding the Fanfest and everything regarding Fanfest, essentially, and just a little bit of Eve DDoSing, and that was pretty much it. But now we are going to go into our Q&A, because a lot of people actually from our guild, they want to know some things about us and the things about our guild and, everything. So we're going to go into the Q&A section, and I'll start it right off the bat. This is actually a question from Dax, who is with us today. And her question was, what are your future plans for the guild? So this question is probably more suited for me and Gaius, and you guys can answer too if you want. But my answer is essentially, hopefully we'll get more diplomatic relationships with the guilds to come out of the shadows. The guilds that are going to be coming, rising up. Maybe we can get some sort of diplomatic something with them. I don't know. And also, I wanted to say maybe if the guild becomes bigger, we can have some sort of merchandise going out. Maybe some shirts, hats, whatever is easiest to make. I think shirts is probably the easiest to make, because you can just iron them shits on, and that'd be it. Maybe we'll just add a logo on there or something, because we do make our own logos. So yeah.
Our success so far has been, in terms of how quick it has happened, was not what I predicted. I predicted more of a slow crawl for maybe the first 6 months. Far more successful than I initially thought we would be, as fast as we have. If we're ready to start merchandising Saligia, I don't know. But to answer the question, what are the future plans? I just hope we're successful. I hope that we have enough members, loyal, faithful, active members, by the time the game comes around, to actually be a guild and not have to suffer really internal trouble, and be able to play the game as a guild and affect the game the way we need to affect it. So, long story short, I hope we're successful.
Well, being the mother of greed, I've actually started designing a filing system to keep track of the currency that we'll be generating in-game, but until I get more information on how the MMO will be, I can't really progress much more than I already have.
Well, since I'm just the Scarlet of Last Renowned Officer role, I'm not really a parent, but I really care about this whole guild, and I want us to be really successful, and I'll do anything I can to help, make it more successful in any way that Lesta can offer their wisdom and words. But I just think that this guild's gonna be really great, and when we get into the game, I just want us to be able to still have everyone together and being close and friends, and be able to keep it just a friendly and easygoing guild like it is right now.
All right, great. I was just gonna say that somebody was actually interested in the guild just because of Eve's voice and stuff like that. So you could just keep talking in the podcast, and you'd be helping the guild. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll move on to the next question. So the next question was again from Dayax, and she said, do the SaligiaCast members feel their in-game characters represent and or are similar to themselves? I love this question, because a lot of the time I base my character off myself, his looks mostly. I'm a guy that, has a long beard, long hair, long black hair. If my character's human, he looks like me, essentially, usually. If he's some sort of alien race, he doesn't look like me, of course. But I try to give him qualities that I might have. But of course, I'm not a vampire out and who has a thirst for innocence. I'm not like that at all. I'm not gonna try to eat children in any way. So, I mean, that's all I really have to say. Mostly looks, not really personality. I wouldn't think. Some people think I'm a scary guy, but I'm really not. Yeah, so that's essentially what I have to say about that one.
Most of my characters, but particularly for Saligia, are a lot more evil than I am. Do I base them
He's
off
lying.
myself? Thanks. But I base them off myself, their interest in history. They're interested in finding stuff and like, ooh, what's written on this rock? What's written on this piece of paper? That's my natural curiosity, particularly for history. Um, yeah, I tend to make super me and then make the super person as evil as I guess I really am, apparently, because I'm evil, apparently.
Well, my character, Victoria, is really a hippie vampire, and the reason I made her that way is because I've never roleplayed before, and I didn't think I could create an evil enough vampire to make it seem evil, and so I decided hippie was the way to go.
Wouldn't really say I'm an evil slut like Eve is, but I mean I can be. I just have to, turn on my voice and give some fan service to some people listening out there. But if I could be an evil slut who could walk around scantily clad and have anything I want, be completely insane, I probably would be. So I guess yeah, Eve's a little bit based on my desire of if I was a vampire, I'd probably be just like her.
That was perfect. I think you got me a little bit there, but anyway. um, the next question was ironically from Eve. What first got you into the World of Darkness? For me, it was pretty much RP mostly. I'm a huge RPer. I've RP'd for more than 9 years almost. Thanks to Gaius. He got me into RP actually, so I've known him for pretty much all my life. And I remember way back in my SOTOR guild, which is Star Wars: The Old Republic, they had an RP branch for people who wanted to RP Vampire the Masquerade. So I was like, shit, I haven't done this before, so I might as well try it out. And this was like maybe 3 years ago, and because my guild, that's another story. So I decided to join up, and I fell deeply in love with the lore. I loved it. It kept me so interested because it was so opposite from the vampire stuff you see today, like Twilight, of course. I mean, True Blood is cool, but they butcher the freaking werewolves, and I hate that so much. But yeah, go. You guys can answer.
What first got me into World of Darkness? I was dragged into World of Darkness, kicking and screaming against my will. When Virgil first stumbled upon the World of Darkness branch of the Star Wars Guild, he wanted to get me in it. I was very much uncomfortable with the idea of tabletop type dice rolling and character sheets being brought into Forum RP. Ironic now that I think about it. So I wasn't going to be involved. When he wanted to create the guild, he essentially told me that since I was the person that got into RPing and that he was one of the better RPers that he knew personally, then he wanted me to help him build the guild. And I said yes. And that was it. That was my introduction to World of Darkness, just dragged in kicking and screaming almost against my will. It's been fun though.
I actually didn't know I was dealing with the World of Darkness when I first started getting into the lore, because I had originally found Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and I really enjoyed that game. Just a few years ago when the original World of Darkness MMO trailer came out, that's when I got interested in the World of Darkness. And it wasn't until recently that I found Saligia and really got into it.
I also found out about World of Darkness through the video game Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I think I played that game when I was first 14 years old or something. I was a wee young in there, and my brother introduced it to me, and I fell in love, and I continued to play it until this day. And then I just grew more in love with, I wanted to know more about where did this game come from? What is the backstory of this game? So I found White Wolf, and I went on their site, and I started looking up all about the World of Darkness, and I even got the 20th anniversary Vampire, Masquerade book here to read up on it, and and I found Saligia through WoD news, and that's about it.
Alrighty. So the next question is from Gaius. Wow, we got a lot of questions from the panel. So yeah, the next question was from Gaius, and he says, "What part of the World of Darkness lore would you like to have a Forum RP story based off of?" Mine's a simple, quick answer: Hunt of the Vigil. Why? Because we already have it going already. So, I mean, our vampires are fighting the hunters. That's the. If you want to know more, come join us. But you guys can go ahead and answer.
Since this is my question and I'm the lore master, I want to actually break our order and go last. So I would like Deox to go before I do, and then Eve go before I do.
Well, I've been enjoying the current lore we've been using, Hunter the Vigil, and so I feel that's my favorite right now.
Lore-wise, Hunter the Vigil is pretty good. I like it. I don't really know much about the other lores that much, so sorry guys. It's your turn.
Alrighty then. I became Saligia's unofficial lore master, and I've spent a massive amount of time ripping into PDFs and the wikis and stuff like that, digging up little kernels that I thought would be interested to base forum-based RP off of, which probably wouldn't play a major role in the game. Hunter the Vigil is the first one I found. I'm planning one in the future for Halloween. I want to do something with the Jersey Devil, which is in World of Darkness Urban Legends. I can go on for a whole nother podcast of things I would like to do. Yeah, but really the one I'm really looking forward to is the one I want to do in October for Halloween, which would be the Jersey Devil. Because I'm a Jersey resident, and I don't know, I like monsters that eat things.
Okay. Well, since nobody really had that much in depth, I'll go with a different one. I'll say werewolf. Why? Because I am a huge werewolf fan. I RP werewolf. I'm actually RPing werewolf at this current stage in whatever I'm doing. And Second Life, I RP a werewolf in Second Life, and I have so much fun RPing that. So maybe, yeah, I would love to see, even if it's not in the forum RP, I would love to see werewolf somehow incorporated into the game. Maybe if we're fighting werewolves, or we learn some stuff about how they tick or how they work, like just more history on them that we actually haven't even seen in the past. But we'll move on to the next question. And this one's from Gaius again. Don't worry, we have questions from people that aren't here. Don't worry, we have a couple more. And his question is, would Saligia allow members who choose not to buy the game down the line to remain as a forum-only RPer? Now, this question from Gaius kind of scares me a little bit, because I know he's a broke bastard, and I bet he just only wants to do the damn forum RP and doesn't even want to get the game. But I hope that's a lie. I hope you'll, when it comes to your turn, you'll tell me. But yes, I think we would allow them to stay on the forum if they want, because it's easily incorporated from in-game to the forum, since we do use a system. But I think there would be a restriction to that, so maybe they wouldn't be a leader. So sorry guys, if you wanted to be a leader and wanted to just play on the forums, you couldn't do that.
Well, I'm not planning on not getting the game, but I just want to make sure if we have listeners, I'm like, I would say, well, they can't be leaders, because just like our leaders have to be an event, our leaders have to play the game. That's sort of how it goes. You can't be part of a gaming guild when you don't own the game. No, you can be part of it. You can't be leadership of the guild. Sorry. I would say, hey, if you want to stay on the RP and you're active and you're part of the community, sure, why not? If you're just going to drift in and out and not be active, maybe not so much. But if you're a part of our community and you're active, I would say, yeah, you can do forum-based RP if for whatever reason you cannot purchase the game.
I would say that we should have a certain amount of people that are just in our RP, just with the way everything is working out. I wouldn't expect all of our members to join into the game when it comes out.
See, now I'm gonna be a bad guy here. I mean, I agree with what Virgil said. I don't think if you aren't gonna be in the game, then you shouldn't have a leadership position because the leaders are dealing with stuff in the game mostly. But that's the thing. This is a guild meant for a game. It's really hard to just, I mean, I understand like hanging out in the RP forums, like, you know, the stuff that we have going on right now where we just RP on the forum with each other. But if you wanted to get more in depth, I don't think anyone would be able to do that. And it's just kind of like if you want to be a part of this, you know, and you want to be a bigger part of it, then you're going to have to invest some money. And, you know, if it's something you really want to do, then the investment shouldn't be that horrible to do. And I doubt CCP is going to make it like a huge price range for this game. I mean, video games are video games, and, you know, you pay what you pay.
Well, I think it's unique in this case simply because we're an RP guild and not just a World of Darkness guild. I don't want to debate you in the podcast. It's just, I think because there are RPers that just want to be part of the experience and might not have the money to cough up, that to have the option sort of at this point be a maybe would work out for us in the long run.
So yeah, I think that was our first sort of argument on this podcast. Maybe actually, I think there was one before, but I don't remember. But yeah, I agree with Eve a little bit. I do think if you're extremely interested in the game, I don't think from my knowledge of playing games a lot that the game's only going to probably be $50 for US, and I don't think it's that big of a problem though to have them RP on the forum, because I know that some people, like say you're overseas or wherever the server is going to be based. So I'm guessing it's going to be in America. If you're overseas somewhere and you have extreme lag or it's not going to work for you or whatever, maybe I don't know if they have ways to combat that. I'm not sure, but if you have this extreme lag where you can't play this game, I think that forum RP is going to be the best option for you. But anyway, I'll move on to the next question. Okay, so this question is from Anonymous, Anonymous, if I'm saying that correctly. Let's say that this is the question. Let's say that the World of Darkness MMORPG started. Aren't you afraid that your rivals would already know much about you, since only thing they need to do is realize what you are up to is looking at Saligia's forums? So I'll answer, and I answered him by saying, possibly, but guests, of course, are limited to only see certain things on the guild. It would be almost impossible to figure out if somebody were to infiltrate us unless we had somebody in their guild or faction that we could, you know, get our intel from them and figure out if they infiltrated us. And I know this is gonna happen. I have a feeling it's gonna happen to us because I mean we're a steady increase, and I guess the other guild out there are kind of like, okay, these guys we gotta watch out for. So yeah, what are you guys' answers on that one?
You were sort of tooting your own horn there a little bit, like they gotta watch out for us. But anyway, when I first saw that this was anonymous, I was like, "Are you making threats at us, Mr. Anonymous person?" But I would say this. I'd go about it a completely different way. If you're gonna come on our forums and look at whatever we're doing, you know, marching around the woods, hunting the Jersey Devil, and then take that into the game and metagame it, we will ignore you, or at least I will. If you're telling me things that we said in the back of a club in a forum that you would never know, and try to bring that into the actual story, I'll ignore you. I'll go somewhere else. So if you're going to try to do that, that's metagaming, and that's against Saligia's rules, so we're not going to acknowledge it.
Being that I'm in Greed and we're basically handling all of Saligia's finances, I'm basically setting up a system where only officers and myself will have important financial information. So that won't be publicly displayed on the forum.
Honestly, whoever sent that anonymously is kind of a, you know, digging their own grave there. I mean, we do have that system, as Virgil said. If you are a guest, you won't be able to see much, and even if you do join, you have to go through an initiation process and be sorted. And it's not like we're just handing out, here, you get all our information and you get every privilege. No, you have to earn that, right? You have to be an active member, and we have to get to know you. So if you want to infiltrate, you're gonna have to be pretty good. Little dedicate yourself to it, little actor here. Honestly, though, it's a game, and if anybody's gonna stoop that low, I think they need a reality check. It's a video game. Don't ruin it for other people.
I agree with you, and guys as well, and they actually agree with you all. But I was in regards to Gaius's answer. I think this is way more out of character than in character. It doesn't matter if they metagame. It's about if they can infiltrate our guild and become, I don't know, a high member, right? They could essentially steal all of our stuff and go off and run with it, and go to another guild. Take all our stuff and go. And now I remember they actually said that there's gonna be this strict code or whatever, and people aren't going to get that privilege very easily. But it could happen in the end. It could happen in a very long time. So I get what he's saying. I do get what he's saying, but I don't think it's going to happen. Especially if we stick together, we're all loyal. We could do this. But anyway, did you guys want to say anything about that? Because I kind of drifted off a little.
If someone is going to infiltrate us and spend 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, hanging out with us with the intent of gaining a chunk of information and running
It's
back
happened in
to
Eve. It's happened in Eve before.
that, no, I'm not saying anything bad about it. That would be awesome to me, because I'm like, we're important enough to be infiltrated. Yay! But if they're willing to RP it out, and they're willing to RP out the fact that they, not on the forum, like I'm stealing all your stuff, but in game, like, yeah, I left, I stole your stuff. If they're willing to RP out and they're willing to sort of remain on semi-good terms where we can interact with them still, that would be awesome to me. To have someone steal our crap, run off, give it to someone else, and then we still see that person in their guild, and we have to go like, yeah, they beat us, kind of. We were not prepared for that. That'd be cool. Don't do it
That
yet.
could totally spark some awesome RP, though. You're right. That could spark some awesome RP. What about you, Eve? Did you want to say anything else?
Just that I agree with Gaius. It could start some awesome RP, but if the person who does this is a little stinker, or just somebody who's malicious, it's probably going to just cause us problems, because then where are we left with? Nothing. We have nothing left, and people could leave the guild if we get more members. They could be like, well, what's the point of staying here? And they could leave, or just all this different type of stuff. And I just think that, sabotage is going to happen. It happens all the time in video games, and it's best to try to avoid it by taking precautions. I'm not saying be paranoid and, ask everyone, where were you on the blah, blah, blah day? But just be careful and cautious, because you don't know people. It's over the internet. You don't know anyone's true intentions.
And you, Dax, anything else to add?
I'd be interested to see who can pass my officer tests to get into Greed. But yeah, I agree. It could really be interesting for RP if that did happen, and I'm pretty sure it will happen at some point.
Yeah,
Can I add
let's
one
hope
more
it
thing?
doesn't.
One.
Yeah, go ahead.
One. From what I've known about being in guilds, the most recent one specifically, the greatest threat from a guild comes from not the people trying to infiltrate it and destroy it from within, but from the people up in the top echelon of it, breaking it apart and having problems. If someone infiltrates the guild and does that stuff, that shouldn't destroy the guild if the guild is loyal enough as a collective, and there could be cool stuff coming out of it. But I'm just saying, the worst thing that can happen to the guild will come from within its leadership if it's destroyed, not from some member who spent a couple of weeks trying to dig its way up into our info.
Agreed. So let's go on to the next question. That was a kind of depressive little segment there, but we'll move on. Okay, so this question was by one of our new members, Tristan, and his question is, what would you like to add or subtract from WoD, or World of Darkness, when compared to other vampire series like Vampire Diaries, Twilight? He says, "Wow, really?" in parentheses, and or Vampire Journals, etc. So I said, nothing really for me. I think World of Darkness does almost everything right, in my opinion. Uh, but like True Blood, where they completely butchered the werewolves, which I think I said before, which really pisses me off. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't think there's really much that I would like changed in the World of Darkness. What do you guys think?
One quick thing. There's a show called Vampire Diaries and a show called Vampire Journals. Originality at its best. Either way, with all seriousness, I want Gaius to sparkle when he's out in the sun and not burst into flames. I'm being completely serious.
How about you tell us the serious answer now?
Alright, what could you... Here's the only problem with that. What can you take from a genre, like the vampire genre, when the World of Darkness has pretty much been the grandfather of all of it to begin with? I mean, most of the stuff you see the certain kinds of embraces that exist in all of this thing. The drinking of vampire blood has a positive effect on other vampires. You have the certain religions related to the vampirism. It all comes back to World of Darkness in one way or another, influentially or coincidentally. I don't really see much you can take away from something else or take away from World of Darkness to make it better. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing.
I'm just interested to see how all of this information will work together in an MMO setting. That, to me, is interesting.
I didn't. I've read the Vampire Diaries, and I've read the Suki Stackhouse novels, which are what is True Blood is based off of. I've read Twilight, sadly. I wish I haven't, but honestly, I like World of Darkness best. The only other vampire setting I like with World of Darkness is probably Anne Rice's books, but other than that, I don't want a sparkle. I don't want that Nancy Pantsy fucking human vampire romance where it's just like, oh, melodramatic pause type stuff. I'm not into it. Vampire Diaries is Twilight, meh. And True Blood's okay. I like it. I like how it's very adult, but it does have its moments where I'm just kind of like, eh. Like Virgil said, I don't like the way they did the werewolves. I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Agreed. Agreed. But yeah, in all honesty, I think World of Darkness did a great job, and they can continue to do a great job, and nothing needs to be changed in my opinion. But anyway, I think that was the last question. All right, guys. So that's going to end all of our questions. We had plenty to go off of, but I'll save those for the next podcast, and maybe we'll get more. So I just wanted to, advertise some shameless promotion. And it gives me great honor to tell you guys about what Saligia and one of our members have been doing. It's called the Late Nights with Lippy Lilith. It's inspired by Deb of Night from VGM Bloodlines. She was the radio host for these late night callers and stuff. But anyway, Late Nights with Lippy Lilith will be your go-to broadcast for music, late night callers, and just pure fun, pleasure, whatever. She will be doing these broadcasts from now and until after the release of World of Darkness Online. So we were kind of thinking when we were talking about it, we were kind of thinking, well, if there's no radio or something in the game, people can kind of just alt tab, put the radio show on, Lippy Lilith on, and go on their adventure into the World of Darkness. So it's a big community thing that we're trying to do. Oh, and one more thing to add. We really need the help of the WoD community, like really badly. The more stuff we get from the community, the more we can put out. So we need people to send in recordings, fake advertisements. If you listen to it, you'll see a lot of fake advertisements. I do a couple. I do Friggin' Chicken. Gaius does Captain Krabby or whatever the thing was. So we need fake advertisements. We need callers. We need a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll if you want to help us out, send me a message on YouTube, and we'll get you started. And you guys can be creative. You guys can do whatever you want. We'll put them right in. So, did you guys want to add anything on Lippy Lilith? Because I know you guys love it and you guys listen to it all the time. Just give your input on.
It's really good. You should check it out. I'm endorsing it too. I also am one of the callers in one of the Lippy Lilith things, and I'll be doing some ads myself. So if anyone does like my voice, as Virgil said, then go ahead and give it a listen.
I have a great level of pride in what Lilith has done with the radio show, alongside the podcasts and the forum RP. It's the many things that the Saligia community itself has produced that, and I think is of tremendous quality. I appear, as Virgil said, I appear in one particular commercial. I am a pirate selling fish, specifically from the market that appears in Bloodlines. Yeah, and I want to make more commercials. Too bad I can only do one crappy pirate voice. Yeah, go check it out. It's an excellent piece of work, and it will continue for, as far as we know, a few years to come. So you should enjoy it.
I've really enjoyed the music she's put on there. It really brings you into the World of Darkness atmosphere, and if it's available in-game, I'm going to be listening to this a lot.
Alright, great. And then one more little advertisement. I wanted to give a quick shout out to newsbynight.net. And newsbynight.net is dedicated to bringing the latest news and discussion about CCP's upcoming World of Darkness MMO, which is what we've been talking about this whole time. So yeah, check them out. They're like a blogish type thing. I think they're gonna do updates every Wednesday and Friday, or Monday and Friday. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but they're gonna be great for the news, for the upcoming news of the game. So go check them out. And lastly, I'm just gonna give a shout out to the newest members we have, and one being Dayax. She's been a pleasure to have. She's been so awesome. We just had to bring her in for this podcast as a guest, and she's been awesome. Another person that just got initiated into the guild is Craven. He's awesome. I believe he said he wants to have his own sort of club that Saligia kind of operate from. That's really cool. There's Crazy Lacey. She's crazy. And there is Tristan. He's an awesome guy. He wants to be the NV leader, and he's doing a great job so far. But that pretty much ends everything I want to talk about. Do you guys want to say anything else before we head off?
As always, as the father of sloth, I have the privilege of being the first to RP with, every single member that joins up and brings in an application. And just with this new lot of members, it's always a pleasure, and it's always great to have them as a member of the guild and a member of the community. So, then again, welcome.
I'm just really happy people are joining, and to all our new members, welcome. If I haven't said welcome yet to you guys, and I'm so happy you guys are part of this thing now, and I can't wait to RP with you and Crazy Lacey and stuff. We could be crazy together.
I've just really been enjoying meeting new people in Saligia, and I'm looking forward to meeting more.
Awesome. So I'm just gonna say our goodbyes here. So thank you everybody for watching. If you want to join Saligia, maybe you want a guest spot in the podcast, come over and join Saligia's forums. We have some awesome RP, and you can get us at www.saligiaroleplay.com/forums, or you can go to our main website, and it has some cool music and some Flash stuff. So that's it. Thank you everybody for watching again. Peace.